Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are. You are.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
great. So very good evening from India, very good morning from Brazil, and good day to all viewers, those who are going to watch this program on quality education. Quality education, once we talk about achieving percentage, achieving high in academia, or quality means which serves the purpose of humanity, happiness, prosperity in the society. Today, we have educationists, those who are going to share their views in context of vocational education, education for life, education for bringing prosperity and happiness. On the first request, can I have Aditi Vashubha to take a lead? We say about quality education, but how we impart quality education, which has a value, which has a care and concern, which has a concern about the nature, concern about our social values, and more than that, if I say concern about this global challenges of the world. Welcome to you, Aditi. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. It's nice to see you all again. And really, the topic is very good. And what do you mean by quality education? I think as Sir S.K. Singh sir was talking about quality education, I think it has got mainly three aspects. Ensuring age-appropriate learning outcome on the basis of the well-defined learning objectives. And second is that's the primary thing, that learning outcome should be on the basis of the appropriate, age appropriate should be basis on the basis of learning objective. Second is education for all. Quality education means education for all. And also the most important point is employability, as you said about the vocational education, employability along with ingrained universal values. Unless we have universal values, we cannot be happy. So happiness quotient depends on the values we have, and humanitarian values we have, quotients we have. So first point was ensuring age-appropriate learning outcome on the basis of well-defined learning objective. That should be research-based. That should be based on developmental parameters. All right. So everybody cannot be equated on the same line. Learning objective and outcome should be aligned with proper assessment for learning rather than assessment of learning. What do I mean by that? That formative assessment in the formative years is more important than the summative year-end assessment saying, labeling the child that you are, as S.K. Singh sir was saying about, that you are this percentage or percentile, that you are 70 percentile, you are 90 percentile, labeling the child like that. It should be formative years should have more formative assessment. That should be diagnostic, remedial, or for the bright children, it should be scaffolding and acceleration. So it should be about, from 3 to 12 years of age, assessment should be formative. And also by education for all, I mean that education should be inclusive in every way, not only in reinforcing, not only in the form of mental and physical challenges. It should be reinforcing the cultural diversities, the ethnic diversities, socio-economic diversities, and map with IEP, individual educational plans for specially blessed children, for specially able children. And for the employability, that means that a respectable, having a respectable life, and also a sustainable life. The way we have in life, that to carry on our life. So love, compassion, honesty, integrity, peace, and other universal values have no boundaries. Whether we are in Brazil, we are in Pakistan, we are in Sri Lanka, all universal values are equal. Therefore, quality education has all these should consider all these into account. And I hope may each and every child of the world get the quality education. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Aditi ma'am, very well defined. Let's move to Sri Lanka. I have dear Sampath Naratne. What is the situation around the globe once we talk about quality education in context of sustainable goals? So values are important, academia is important, but if I say skill education, which serves the real purpose of life. Welcome to you, Sampathji, and over to you. What is your views?
Yes, have a good day from Sri Lanka. And thank you very much for inviting for this lovely meeting. So this is not only meeting, this is the one of the leaders who make the world. They try to change the world. So beginning with that, I really appreciate the founder of the gel, and I really appreciate the organizing committee who are planning, who are thinking for the world. So, right, in my mind, I have a sentence. So that is, from this kind of things, I see the world from Sri Lanka. So talking about the quality education, talking about the skillful education, I do believe people do want to do this kind of things to the world. If you are an educated person, we have to do. So if we learn something, we have to teach. That is the skill. So, right, that's my personal idea. So from that, if we can believe, if we can get the love from the students, from the parents, the leaders, the teachers are very talented. They are very skillful. So, right, I'm talking about go through the personal life. So, personally, when I'm teaching, I do want to making people, and I do want to see the heart of the people, and I do want to make them to laugh. So if you want to make to get their laugh, we need to be skillful. That is the good education. That is the quality education. So if we can't get in touch with the students, with the learners' heart, we are not colorful to touch him with their goals. So I think the founder, the Mr. Sir, you are trying to achieve the goals who are contributing the world. It means, right, you are a talented person. You are a great leader who are giving the beautiful chances to the world. So as the teacher, as the lecturer, I most appreciate your kind, your valuable, the valuable organization. And I do want to say, people, it means teachers, it means educated person can create the beautiful world. I think for making the beautiful world, I'm giving my love. Firstly, I love them, I care them. That is my first quality for before teaching. So before, when I become the teacher, I do learn many things, but I started to teaching, then I started to learning more than previously. And so the quality education is our happiness, and the quality education is creating the most beautiful world. Thank you very much.
I think very well defined, Mr. Navratne. You talked
Yes.
about the skill education who can touch the heart of children, and we all together as a gel trying to connect with each other, not just for academia, but more than academia, our happiness, our values living together. We have two other speakers. Wilma is on the screen, who has been a very true teacher, who has been a passionate teacher, who has been always looking towards the inner core of the child. So Wilma, what is your experience and what we called real meaning of quality education in your book, in your experience? You have been always a true teacher, which I have been experiencing. So welcome to you, and over to you. Lika, get ready. I'll be inviting you. So Wilma first.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here. It's always a pleasure. Thank you for the invitation. Well, for me, I truly believe that just only through education we can change this world. And then I've been working hard with my students. And I believe that we have to empower our students to become much more than students. We have to teach them what are they, the things they are studying in the classroom, what will they use these things in their real life for? Because I realize that sometimes schools and teachers, they are worried about preparing students for the exams, about memorizing things. But after the exams, even if they have good grades, if you ask them, what did you learn from that? They aren't able to tell you. And this is so sad. It is like we are preparing our students then just for the inter examination. We are just preparing them for having good grades. And that's not a good thing. We have to prepare our students for life. We have to teach them what are they using the things they are learning from school in real life. And I have some students in my classes, and they are psychologists, and they are the people who are hiring people for their companies. And they have told me that it's really difficult finding good people to work in their companies, because they are working for people there that are able to communicate. Because the technical thing, it's easy to learn, but it's very hard to find people able to communicate with others, able to understand each other. And then this is what I have in mind, that we have to teach our students, teach them how to communicate with other people, teach them how to emphasize with other people, how to understand others, and make them really human beings worried about the environment, worried about what other people are feeling. Because the technical things, it's easy to understand and it's easy to learn. They can learn from one day to another, but how to understand others, how to worry about others, how to care about environment, how to care about their family members. This is thing that takes a long time to learn. And then we have to teach our kids since they are small. We have to teach them how to take care of the things we have now, because we are worried about the environment some years from now, but we have to have in our minds that we have to teach our kids at this moment. Now we have to get started. And sometimes I know that we think, oh, but we are a small school, we are in a small town here in Brazil. But if I do my part here in my school, if a teacher from Sri Lanka does his part there in Sri Lanka, teacher Lika in her school, teacher Christine in her school, if each of us teachers do our part with our students, then we'll be slowly changing the whole world. But we have to get started now in our community. And then that's why I believe that teachers, we have the power to change lives, and we have to do that. We have to start changing our students' lives. We have to empower them, teach them to believe in themselves, because I can see sometimes that students, they are so afraid of communicating, they are afraid of talking English, and English is the language to communicate with the world. And it's so beautiful when we communicate with others, because we understand their culture, we understand them as people, and this way we are making this a better world. We are making our students able to understand others, and they are becoming better human beings. And this is what we need, better human beings to make it a better world. That's all from my part.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Wonderful, wonderful, Vilma. Learning for life. If I take from you, learning for life, not just learning for getting educated.
Yes.
Learning for life, spreading happiness, communicating with each other, understanding each other, helping each other. And more than that, objective of real education is happiness around the globe, which we are practicing at Global Edu Leaders Forum. Our sole intent towards education is not the book and research. It's a human values. If we are educated, we are professionals, and we do not have happiness or understanding each other, I think this whole world is not going to get anything. You take example of the global issues. Nowhere it has been defined that war is a solution. You can see the example of children of Ukraine. There is some lack of humanity. There can be other ways of finding solution of such problems once you have a conflict. But bombing, parents are somewhere else, kids are somewhere else. They are not getting food. So these issues, who will take? We teachers can take it forward. I really appreciate the few of the teachers, those who are taking care of the kids on the Poland border, where kids are away from their parents. They do not know what has happened to their parents. So these human values, peace in the life, happiness in the life, global concern towards the issue is the real education. I have Lika, who is contributing along with the kids from Georgia. So Lika,
your voice is, I cannot hear your voice well. Hello to everyone. Can you hear from me?
Yeah, clearly. Yeah, we can.
Okay. I want to greeting to everyone.
Lika,
Hello.
Lika, over to you, please. And Christina,
Yes.
I'm waiting for you. Please just get ready.
Yeah. Good morning, good evening, good day, everyone. I want to speak about quality education in my country. I prepared my presentation about this. I want to share this presentation. I have no right to share my
Renata,
presentation.
I hope you can allow her.
Okay, it's not impossible, and I can speak about the quality of education from the national standard in my country. We have a number of best practices to teach foreign language as a second language, or as we refer to them, core effective practices that align and specifically support the standards which teachers are to meet in their foreign language experiences. Some of the practices are best practices in foreign language learning is that content is specific, and the others recognize more broadly in education as best practice in several areas. The core effective practices for foreign language learning are use the target language for learning. Students can speak, listen, read, and write, and view some points, and creating target language 90% or more during classroom time compressible. Input, context, and interactions. Use authentic cultural resources, present interactive reading and listening comprehension tasks, using authentic cultural text with appropriate scaffolding while promoting interpretation. Design communicative activities, and also teachers can design and carry out the international communication tasks for peers, small groups, and the whole class instruction. And the four is a plan with a backward design model. Instructors identify desired results, determine acceptable evidence, and plan learning experiences and instructions. Teach grammar as a concept and use the context, and student focus on meaning before form and provide appropriate feedback. Oral corrective feedback in speech or write elicit output beyond the simple yes or no responses. Also, from my best practices, when I teach my students, I use internet world games where the students can use grammar exercises, and they can make yes or no answers, make the games together, and this is so easy for them to remember everything well and develop their listening skills, spoken skills, and their skills for activity. And despite all the research which I have made, all my experience during my teaching, results of such research, there remains little evidence of the effect of target language versus native language use, from which experts and make sound pedagogical policy decisions. Second language teachers strive to teach a variety of elements in their classrooms, including grammar, while different teachers take varying approaches to the importance of the grammar accuracy, as well as the theory behind how students acquire second language. And also when I get participate to the online meetings with my children, it helps to my students to develop their communicative skills, and except of the language, it develops to be the citizens of worldwide students and the world's citizens to be. Thank you so much.
Very well defined, Dr. Lika. You have talked about the activity-based teaching, technology-based teaching,
Yes.
which can enhance the students' learning for life. I have Professor Christina on the screen. Welcome to you, Professor Christina. I would love to know your views regarding sustainable goals of United Nations in context of quality education. So welcome to you, and over to you.
Thank you so much. You can only learn the things that you love. That is a quote from Francisco Mora, a Spanish neuroeducator. And I couldn't agree more. What you were saying about the goals that we have in order to have quality education, I have found 3 things that I'm going to explain today: ethos, logos, and pathos. I didn't know what that was even 1 year ago. I remember I love giving conferences, and for so many years I have been giving lectures and conferences around the world. And one friend from Jordania, he told me, Professora Cristina, I love the way you talk, but you are only using pathos. And I was, what is pathos? So I Googled it, and I found from Aristotle, ethos, logos, and pathos. I read and I said, what is this? This is so complicated. But it was a great feedback from him. So pathos means heart, that you are persuading with your heart. And I was great at doing that. But he said that I was only using that. So I was like, what is missing? Logos, that it has to do with information, with the knowledge, with the research. And then ethos, that it has to do with the hands. So that means that you need to have the experience in order to persuade, to convince, to teach. So I have the 3 elements: logos, your mind; pathos, your heart; and ethos, your hands. So I started working, analyzing, reflecting, and I was teaching, I was speaking with pathos, because I had a terrible experience with my son who tried to kill himself for more than 10 times. So that's why I was desperate, trying to help as many kids as possible, so I could pass the message to love life, to learn for life, what you all are saying now. But I was missing something. I was missing the logos. I was missing the pathos. And I discovered that back to my time that I was a student in the university 27 years ago, I was only learning with logos. And I was scared. I couldn't love that because I was so scared to be enough, to be validated. So I discovered that that fear interfered in the process of learning and in the process of teaching. So it was not only about me. I discovered that I needed to change the way I was teaching, because if I was only teaching with logos and speaking with pathos and not using the ethos, something was missing. So I started to balance, to integrate, and to feel the power of my thoughts, the powers of my emotions, and the powers of my actions. I discovered that the educational system in Mexico is based on logos. If you are going to be accredited for an exam, as my colleagues were saying, and that is terrible, because when they go to real life in the companies, they are not prepared. I couldn't agree more on that. In Mexico, we are below the USA, right? So we are in the rank, in the place 92 out of 112 countries speaking English. Can you imagine that? That is not possible. We shouldn't be on the first places. What is going on? Teachers are not teaching with those three important aspects, with logos, with ethos, with pathos. And why is that? You cannot give what you don't have. So first, as educators, we need to form ourselves, not only in the fear to finish the university studies, to finish the postgraduate studies, to be someone. We are already someone, and we are amazing educators and human beings. We need to work on human development. We need to learn. We need to have the theory, the concepts, but also we need to have that heart to share, to love, to teach, to train human beings to live better lives. And we need to empower ourselves with that experience. I thought that I was a teacher like this only 3 years ago. As I was telling you, after the problem that I had with my son, I discovered my power, and I started sharing, and I started talking, and I started teaching. And it was amazing the way that I discovered that I have the talent to teach, not because I'm going to get paid, not because I'm going to get fired, not because I am scared and I don't know what to do with my life or I need to survive, because I have love to share and I want to help more people. Education is a matter of life. We can save lives, literally, and we can start saving our own life. So today, I'm going to invite you to reflect on your logos, on your pathos, on your ethos. I want to invite you to study more about the processes of the brain. When I discovered that, I was looking at there, for example, with Benjamin Bloom, he says the process of learning. First, we need to memorize, then we need to understand, then we need to apply, then we need to analyze. After that, we are going to evaluate. And finally, we are going to create. In my country, it is very common when the students comes, okay, investigate about this topic and make a project. And all the steps, right? Something is missing. We, as educators, we are missing that human development. We need to have the knowledge how to teach, how to be better human beings, how to train people. We need to have that heart that connect to that emotions. Our students are emotionals. They are 100% emotionals. And moreover, we need to discover that we have our talents, that we have the experience, that we have our actions. So I invite you today, guys, you powerful educators. How are you with your logos? How are you with your pathos? And how are you with your ethos? Thank you so much.
Amazing, really amazing. Professor Christina, I think you have covered the main objective of quality education. Let me just connect you with the aim and objective of Global Edu Leaders Forum. Our tagline is connecting head to heart. This head to heart means you have many things in the life, but how many people are taking this distance from head to heart together? Trust me, this is the shortest distance which takes the longest time to get connected. Head to heart distance is just 12 to 18 inch. It takes maybe years and years. During this time of pandemic, we got connected with each other. I'm sitting in India, you are sitting in Mexico, Beatrice Vilma is sitting in Brazil, Mr. Naratne is sitting in Sri Lanka. So this globe become a connectivity of the heart, not just connectivity of the brain. And once we get connected from head to heart, we can take this journey forward which can be beneficial for the whole world. I would love to invite on the screen Professor Suresh Daniel. If he is here, I can see Professor Suresh Daniel. Welcome to you and over to you. Your views on quality education in terms of our 17 sustainable goals of United Nations. Welcome to you and over to you.
Thank you so much, and happy to be a part of GEL. And after listening I've listened to all the lectures which are said by the experts and the professors, and which would be very useful for me as I run an international school. Thank you so much again. I hope I'm audible to everybody.
You're audible. You're audible. Please go on.
Okay. Thank you so much. See, in my view, after listening to all the views and opinions shared by the experts, I just had a conclusion. Like according to my experience, where I wanted to tell you, in terms of transforming the quality education, it not only deals with the therapies and the psychological understanding of a child. Apart from this, as an educator, I would like to tell you, before we transform the education, humble parenting or a good parenting or a positive parenting or optimistic parenting is also expected from each and every parent. See, after the COVID break, after the long drive and the long COVID break, I mean, the COVID consequences faced by all the schools. Like many of the children, they're facing the problem of kind of dyslexia, or lacking the reading ability, unable to cope up with the situations, unable to cope up the right situations with every child, because the caliber of every child may not be the same. Like as a big challenge for me, as I'm running a school, as a big challenge for me, every child is getting preoccupied with the kind of activities that which are done at home. That preoccupied activity or preoccupied mind which exposes, or the activity which could be exposed in the school by the child, will play a predominant role for placing a barricade for learning. So instead of that, I request every person or every educator, like if you focus on a particular issue called preoccupied mind, and the major barricades or major drawbacks that we are facing as of now. And let me also tell you, I have written a journal on child's addiction towards the mobile, or child's addiction towards the gadgets. Happy, we are all happy that the century itself says that technology plays an important role hand in hand. Like it can be coined in the two sides. It has been coined in the two sides, saying technology with education, education with technology. But at the same time, education with the technology is very good. But at the same time, there is no particular proper monitoring of the parent has been lacking out. If a proper monitoring has been done while using the mobiles, it would be much better, because once the child tries to use the gadget or a mobile, his mind gets preoccupied. That preoccupied mind will give us a bad results. Preoccupied mind may see, for example, we have a wonderful imaginary power. A child can easily travel to, as is in Mexico or as the Brazil or everywhere. Child can travel everywhere without purchasing a ticket. We all know that. That in creating those imaginations or imaginary pictures, this preoccupied mind will play an important role. Right? Likewise, we have a different steps, because we cannot, as we see the child, when you're trying to lecture something in the classroom, when you see the child, obviously you'll find few people. Obviously, you'll find few people who are focusing and centering. I mean, who are focusing and they are concentrating to you. But the thing is, there are only 10 out of 15 or 20 students in your classroom. Is it true that all the 15 and 20 members are listening to your lecture? If we question ourselves, in any case, if we question ourselves, let me say, the only 4 or 5 members will listen to your lecture in a proper manner or in a concentrative manner. Or the information which is transformed by you will be only listened by the concentrated by only few group of people. But only thing for all this, I could say that is preoccupied mind, which is created by the usage of mobiles. And overall, let me tell you, as soon as the child comes, and we have forgot, because by the force of the parents, the parents are really emphasizing us to get away from a kind of education which will be transformed in a psychological manner or a scientific manner. But only thing, because we are trying to go away, but still there are some experts who really I appreciate, like the people who are transforming the education in scientific manner, because the parents are looking at the marks, are looking at the grades and the progress reports, but ourselves, but up to what extent? Up to what extent are we transforming education in such a manner that every child should be able to learn? And everybody have learned, because in education, psychology at most plays an important role. Psychology at most plays an important role. Likewise, when you understand the child, only then we can be able to give the child a good education. And there's another aspect. I said I finished up with the preoccupied mind, I finished up with the mobile addiction. And let me also tell you, after this COVID, dyslexia has been a great problem with each and every child unable to read or unable to write. Unable to read and unable to write, as the experts have already discussed. And we always focus on the 4 skills like listening, reading, writing, speaking, right? So in this term, I mean, in this aspect, we have forgot, like, the major thing when I'm interacting with the children, when I'm talking to the children, dyslexia has been a great problem, right? And in order to come out of that particular phobia like dyslexia, and when we ask the children to read something, they're unable to read that. And we cannot blame every teacher here, or we cannot blame our education system. And when I try to interact with all the parents, the only questions are, my child is not improving at all. My child is not improving at all, and my child falls under the level called slow learners list. And every parent worries that, and every parent will worry, and every parent wants to see his child to become an IAS officer or IPS officer. But rather than, the parent will forget about the good parenting. He doesn't know that he wanted to make his son as an IAS officer, but he forgets the optimistic parenting or helicopter parenting, good parenting. And he always wants to, he wanted to have, because he wanted to have a kind of output that he don't want to change himself. When he's expecting wonders, or when he's expecting his child to do the wonders, at most the child will expect the parent to do the wonder in his life. And basically, I want to tell you, yes, sir.
That's great. That's great, Professor Suresh Daniel.
Thank you.
If we conclude this talk about the quality education, education is not only getting marks. Education is all about living together, loving to each other. Very well defined method by Professor Christina, the same way it was supported by Vilma, Aditi Bashu ma'am, and Mr. Daniel also has added his technology impact. At last, if we learn for life, if we learn for spreading happiness, may change this world. The word which is called, caring for others, connecting with others, communicating with others. I was impressed with Professor Christina's thoughts. Very well, she has added, are you doing only for the brain, or you are connecting your brain from the heart? And once you connect your brain for the heart, you take things into action. So it's a Bloom taxonomy. The word is called, knowledge, understanding, and application. Knowledge is available everywhere. Informations are flooded on the internet. Once it comes to understanding, we teachers, we mentors, and educators are required to explain it, which can be a fruitful career for a child. We are talking about the education under sustainable development. So under sustainable development, it means one country to another country, one society to another society, and this complete global village become a garden of flowers with the fragrance and a smile. If I say this, This is the real objective of quality education. Education with full of happiness, education with peace, education with prosperity, education with living together, and education with smile on the faces. This is what we try to do on the Global Edu Leaders Forum. My heartfelt gratitude, thanks to Beatrice, who has been always a inspiring force, connecting force. My heartfelt gratitude to Aditi Vasurai, who has been always a smiling face on the screen. Christina, it's amazing your the way of explanation. Wilma, wonderful teacher, always being connected. Lika is always engaged with the teacher, their kids. Lots of projects he is doing. Professor Daniel, happy to know your experience since you are running school, you are experiencing things. And Mr. Navratne, I have seen your kids performing towards the real skill education. But dear friends, journey is incomplete. We have to go in a long way. We need more friends. We need more people to get inspired by each other. I think we have a big challenge in this 21st century where kids has experienced something little bit different, as it was already stated by Professor Daniel. They have lost their writing skill because they were towards the technology. Anyway, we keep doing this episode in coming time where we come with other solution, where we come with the general opinion of experience. I'm not talking about the only studied knowledge in the libraries, internet, and books. We all are educated, which we are experiencing. So I keep saying on this forum, let's share our experience, which normally we are doing in our life. Who knows, this webinar through internet, through YouTube may inspire any one student of sitting in any corner of this whole world. And this is not possible without this two gentle lady. Of course, Beatrice, Global Coordinator, Global Edu Leaders Forum, and back of this, always Renata, who is day and night working and connecting. I was not having electricity issue. I was afraid what to do with this. But see, once your intent is pure, God is always there. Light came, I got connected with the mobile, and we have shared this value. So over to you, Beatrice, for your vote of thanks and your conclusion remark.
Thanks to Global Edu Leaders, especially the founder and chairman, SK Singh, for opening a space in your agenda to attend the JAL projects. We know of your effort and concern for education, the environment, and humanity. Together, we can make the difference. Thank you to all the selfless teachers who make education an example to be followed. Now, I would like to ask permission and a little patience so that I can talk about the challenges in Brazil to achieve an inclusive and quality education. Inclusive and quality education is the heart of the global sustainable development goals. To end poverty, promote prosperity and well-being, and protect the environment. With a focus on education, SDG-04 aims to ensure inclusive, equitable, and quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. To achieve it, 10 goals were presented involving basic education, vocational education, higher education, and literacy. In addition to infrastructure in schools and good working conditions and social recognition for, just a second. Recognition for teachers. Brazil has incorporated SDG-04 into international priorities and has an important ally provided for in the Constitution for achieving the goals, the National Education Plan. In its latest version, the plan determines guidelines, goals, and strategies for educational policy in the period from 2014 to 2024. In 2018, a study by the Institute of Applied Economic Research, the IPEA, revise the goals of SDG-04, considering the specifics and educational indicators of Brazil. The conclusion was that compliance with the PNE would guarantee that 70% of targets would be met in 2024, 6 years ahead of schedule by the UN. As Brazil did, each country should look to SDG-04 as a guide to design specific plans for education policy, taking into account the needs of each region. Inequality between theory and practice, although the scenario outlined by EPEA is optimistic, there is still a long way to go. Data taken from the study and from the PNE Observatory show that access to early childhood education and elementary education has reached its entirety, but the rates of completion of the last stages of basic education are still below the desired level. The responsibility for increasing the country's educational indices should not be placed solely on the government. It belongs to each one of us. Everyone needs to contribute. Schools must be healthy learning centers. Teachers must respect the norms and be respected. Students must attend school. Young people can promote peer education by passing information to their peers. Parents need to form support networks. Of the 10 targets provided for by SDG-04, 9 can be considered as applicable to the Brazilian reality, and one of them does not fit this definition, a 4B, because in its original formulation, it was intended to grant scholarships to countries with serious needs in their economic and social context. That is, it would be the most developed countries that would provide international support. However, in meetings with different ministries and federal state agencies involved with the issues related to education, it was determined that Brazil should provide greater support to neighboring countries with lower purchasing power, in addition to countries with the same profile and that use the Portuguese language. In this sense, although target 4B can be considered not applicable to the country, it changes its status due to the new wording adopted for Brazil. In 2020, we had this situation about education in Brazil. 1/3 of children from 0 to 3 years old attend daycare centers. 1/4 of young people aged between 18 and 24 were studying or completing higher education. Regarding school infrastructure, 53.2% of elementary schools did not have computer laboratories. 29% was the functional literacy rate among youth and adults across the country. 20% of basic education teachers do not have a university degree, and only 35.7% carry out continuing education. Thank you for all your attention. I just wanted to share some data from Brazil for you. And thanks for your attention. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Beatrice. Without you, this was incomplete. Dear friends, ending with this promise, we are coming with another project with the United Nations regarding health and well-being. Health is another very, very important factor for the students. So I request Professor Christina, I request Madam Jyoti, Madam Aditi Vasurai, I request all the educators, those who are on the screen, please do inspire our students to participate. Let's give this leadership to our students, those who can come on the screen and those who can share their views of practice, because they are the real practitioner. They are going to lead this world. So we must get our volunteers ready for coming time. Renata, I request you, everyone, including Mr. Daniel, including Mr. Ratne from Sri Lanka. All educators must give your flag to your students so we can invite them and we can listen to them. That's all for today. Catch you with the next episode. Once again, thank you so much for being with us. Let's make change in the world. Thank you, one and all.
Goodbye.